Welcome to the third of 4 modules containing technical information related to the South and Southeast Asia Air Improvements in the Region, or SSEA-AIR program. This module provides more detail on the sections of the SSEA-AIR Action Plan that address schedule planning and management, stakeholder and public involvement, and communication planning. In this module, we present examples and best practices for these components of the action plan, as well as tips to help you along the way. Battelle, under a cooperative agreement with US EPA and the US EPA's technical team, developed this module. Before continuing with this module, we recommend that you have with you a copy of the SSEA-AIR Air Quality Action Plan template, as well as your draft action plan, which many of you developed last summer at the 2019 SSEA-AIR workshop in Taiwan. This module has several objectives. First, to review the purpose of the SSEA-AIR program. Second, to review the purpose of an air quality action plan. And third, to discuss the following sections of the SSEA-AIR action plan. Section 4, developing a schedule for implementing an action. Section 5, involving the public and stakeholders. Section 6, developing a communication plan. As we go through these sections, we will provide examples, best practices, and some resources to help you. As a refresher from Modules 1 and 2, the SSEA-AIR program has 3 main components. The first is to build technical capacity in South and Southeast Asian countries, provinces, and cities to enhance their air quality management programs and their ability to perform technical assessments of existing air quality problems. The second component is to provide a forum for showcasing success stories or best practices, and for exchanging technical information to help countries to take on-the-ground actions that reduce pollutant emissions and improve air quality. For example, you can learn from Taiwan's successes, which have significantly improved air quality, as shown in the figure on this slide. In turn, we hope that you will use the action planning process to reduce emissions and improve air quality in your countries, so that you too can share your success stories in the future. The third component is to produce action plans that include one or more new actions or control measures, leading to quantifiable reductions in pollution emissions. The SSEA-AIR program recommends that countries target fine particulate matter, commonly known as PM2.5, for emissions reductions because this pollutant has been the focus of much research and is commonly used as an indicator of exposure to air pollution. However, you may also choose to target other pollutants such as NOx, ozone, SO2, or VOCs. On this slide, we discuss the purpose of developing an air quality action plan. Recall from Module 1 that an action plan provides a framework and specific steps to improve air quality. An action plan is based on local and regional data and scientific analyses and includes one or more substantive actions that will lead to quantifiable reductions in pollutant emissions or in measured pollutant concentrations. There are many reasons to create and implement an action plan. First and foremost, an action plan is a means to help protect and improve human health. The cost of poor air quality cannot be underestimated. Reducing pollution will also protect the natural environment and enhance visibility. That is, it will reduce haze, which is critical to both ecosystem health and to economic development, including tourism. The action plan process can integrate air quality considerations into other planning processes, such as facility permitting, municipal planning, and regional growth strategies. Other reasons to create action plans include providing a mechanism to enhance public awareness and give the public access to air quality data and to research on health effects and ways to reduce air pollution. And last but not least, action plans provide industry a degree of certainty about future air quality requirements. Before we discuss the content of Module 3 in greater depth, let's review the content of the previous modules. In Module 1, you are introduced to the SSEA-AIR program and the concept of an air quality action plan, including its components. In Module 2, we provided details and examples covering the first 4 sections of an action plan, including its goals and objectives, airshed characterization, including a description of the area and current air quality and emission sources, and the scope of your planned action or actions. In this module, we continued the discussions started in the first 2 modules, and we'll start with Schedule for Implementing Action. This is Section 4 on the SSEA-AIR Quality Action Plan template. Establishing and managing a schedule ensures that you will use your available resources and time effectively and efficiently. Developing a schedule involves setting up milestones and a timeline. There are tools that you can use, such as a Gantt chart with a work breakdown structure to map out activities, the duration of activities, required reviews and approvals, acquisition of equipment, staffing, and other project components. A Gantt chart is a visual view of tasks scheduled over time. We'll talk more about Gantt charts in a few minutes. Let's look at a few examples of effective schedules. Taiwan created a framework for air quality improvement as part of their Clean Air Action Plan. As you can see in the image on the left, they set a national air pollution goal, which was to attain an average annual concentration of PM 2.5 below 15 micrograms per cubic meter in the ambient air. For this goal, Taiwan set a specific target date, defined a strategy, implemented a plan, and performed periodic performance auditing to track progress toward their attainment of their goal. Tracking and monitoring activities in your project allows you to assess progress in meeting the goals of your action plan. Setting and tracking attainment of short-term goals helps you to build momentum and improves the likelihood that you will reach your long-term goals. A Gantt chart should include a start date, project tasks, the person responsible for each task, when tasks start and finish, how long each task will take, and how tasks group together, overlap, or link. This slide shows a simplified example of a Gantt chart to implement the action plan in a fictional mountain valley in the United States. This is the same example as that used on the example SSEA-AIR action plan that we provided to participants at the 2019 SSEA-AIR workshop in Taiwan. The main air quality issue in Mountain Valley is elevated particulate matter concentrations during the heating season due to the use of wood stoves and open burning. Planned actions to reduce particulate matter concentrations include changing out wood stoves and passing and enacting a burn ban regulation, which would prohibit wood burning both indoors and outdoors during certain meteorological conditions such as wintertime air inversions. The schedule of activities begins with performing air monitoring during heating season to obtain screening level data on the spatial and temporal extent of elevated particulate matter concentrations in Mountain Valley during air inversion episodes. At the same time, air quality staff at the Mountain Valley Clean Air Agency will research regulations in other states that ban burning during air inversions. With this information, agency staff will form an air quality stakeholders group to engage stakeholders and will work with interested agencies, organizations, associations, and citizens groups throughout the duration of the project. Subsequent work will include monitoring particulate matter concentrations in the non-heating season, developing and implementing the wood stove changeout program, and developing and enforcing a burn ban regulation. Resources are available, including websites and templates, with which you can create a Gantt chart for your action plan. Before you begin creating your Gantt chart, you should have established your project tasks, including a start date, end date, description, and duration. Navigate to the website on this slide for step-by-step instructions. Establishing and following a schedule can be difficult. First, ensure that everyone with a role in the project reviews the draft schedule and provides feedback to ensure that it is reasonable and achievable. The entire team needs to agree to the project schedule. Consider adding schedule contingencies or built-in cushions that can absorb the inevitable delays in work progress. Having some flexibility built into your schedule will reduce the additive effects where delays in the completion of one milestone affect attainment of other milestones. When developing your schedule, identify implementation risks up front and develop mitigation actions for addressing those risks should they occur. For example, implementing a new control measure technology could be delayed because of the difficulties during its shipment or problems with its operation. To address these schedule risks, you should consider including hiring an additional technician and budgeting to do so, as well as identifying an alternative control technology. Consider developing an initial, simplified project schedule with a smaller number of tasks. This makes the schedule more manageable. Details can be added as the action plan is implemented. As we have mentioned, you should check your schedule and monitor progress on a regular basis. One way to ensure this is done is to build this check into regular stakeholder or partner meetings. If you get off track, identify the reasons and discuss proposed schedule changes and lessons learned with your partners and stakeholders. The EPA team is also available to provide further assistance. The next topic of this module is public and stakeholder involvement. This is Section 5 on the SSEA-AIR Action Plan template. Developing an action plan is a team effort, so stakeholder planning and management is critical to its success. Public participation and stakeholder engagement lead to more sustainable and satisfying results. Depending on the scope and complexity of your action or actions, you may want to set up a stakeholder committee, planning committee, or public working group. This allows for involvement by a diverse group of interested and impacted parties and allows them to be actively involved in the design, execution, and monitoring of the project. This will also take time and resources, but in most instances is well worth the effort. To plan for involving stakeholders in your action plan, you will need to answer questions such as what will they be doing in the action plan process? What are their roles and responsibilities? How will they work together? You should identify individuals within stakeholder groups and agencies and how each will contribute. Be sure to include local officials as they often know the best way to seek and respond to input from other stakeholders and the public. They may also have insights about who is interested in or affected by the action plan. As well as having a stakeholder group, you may want to have an air quality committee. This committee could include representatives from local government, industry, or citizens groups related to public health, environment, and other areas such as local business and tourism. For more information on public participation, see Guidelines on Public Participation in Environmental Impact Assessment in the Mekong region and EPA's Public Participation Toolkit. A link to the Mekong region guidelines and the EPA Public Participation Toolkit can be found in the slide notes. One example of stakeholder engagement comes from India. In 2017, the city of Ahmedabad launched a regional air pollution monitoring and risk communication project, which was called the Air Information and Response, or AIR Plan. The overall goal of this project was to develop a health-based strategy for monitoring and communicating information about urban air pollution in the region. The city of Ahmedabad is among the first cities in India where city leaders, state government, and citizens are proactively working together to address the country's air pollution with a focus on public health. The plan involved literature reviews, roundtable stakeholder discussions, workshops, data collection, and included communication and outreach components. The success of the project underscores the importance of coalition building and working with both government and non-government stakeholders. In the AIR plan, a person was selected to coordinate all outreach activities. Having a central person responsible for coordination made it easier to involve and manage the relationships among diverse stakeholders, such as policymakers, researchers, medical professionals, the media, and the public. To read more about the AIR plan and its development, a link to the full text can be found in the slide notes. This is a stakeholder relationship map from the AIR plan. You can see how broad the stakeholder engagement effort is. The nodal officer, seen in the bright red box, is a central organizing figure. That individual coordinates communications and outreach activities with the media, non-governmental organizations, or NGOs, and various government ministries. Mapping out your stakeholder engagement strategy in a visual format like this is a great way to ensure that your plan is robust and all impacted and interested parties are engaged. Nepal has also been active in engaging stakeholders to improve air quality. They have involved diverse parties from academia, law enforcement, the business community, government, media, and the health sector. They held a stakeholder workshop where participants were divided into groups based on their backgrounds and interests and discussed air quality, sources of air quality data, and how to assess progress in implementing air quality actions. They showed that bringing stakeholders together is a great way to foster relationships, encourage discussion, and share success. For more information on this workshop, navigate to a media story using the link in the presentation notes. Next, we have an example of stakeholder involvement from the United States. The Fairbanks area established a stakeholder group to recommend community-based solutions to reduce emissions to meet federal air quality standards. To enhance their participation in the design and execution of the action plan, stakeholders were assigned to focus areas aligned with their interests. The overall stakeholder engagement strategy included developing a mission statement, goals, rules for engagement, responsibilities of each stakeholder, and a schedule. The fourth example of public and stakeholder involvement is taken from the example action plan for the fictional Mountain Valley in the western United States, where the goal is to reduce particle pollution resulting from wintertime wood smoke. The steps in the Mountain Valley Clean Air Agency stakeholder engagement plan include identifying stakeholders, including hospitals, health associations, schools, community groups, and state and local officials. Educating stakeholders and the public about the causes of wintertime air pollution and steps that they can take to reduce their contribution to the problem, such as using better burning methods to operate wood stoves, burning only seasoned wood, and avoiding open burning. Holding public meetings to get input on control measures, such as replacing older wood stoves and enacting a ban on the use of wood stoves in open burning during wintertime air inversions. Developing partnerships with the community to build support for the selected actions, and having formal public meetings to present and discuss the action plan and proposed regulations. There are several practical ways to identify and engage stakeholders and to work through challenges in doing so. First, identify and then provide stakeholders with sufficient background information to make sure that they understand the existing air quality sources, major concerns, and current data. This process will also help to ensure that all affected stakeholder groups who are of interest to the action plan are included in the process. Consider engaging an impartial facilitator to help design the stakeholder improvement process from the beginning and to serve as the coordinator throughout the process. Once a diverse group of stakeholders has been identified, ensure that everyone has well-defined responsibilities and find ways to hold them accountable. Involve stakeholders who are particularly good at organization and collaboration. And be sure to engage the public by providing a live forum and adequate opportunity to comment on the action plan. The next topic of this module is developing a communication plan. This is Section 6 on the SSEA-AIR Action Plan template. Communication planning involves engaging the public by educating and raising their awareness as to air quality concerns, spurring them to participate in the action plan process, and sharing success after the action is complete. Communication plans and activities must be directed to well-defined audiences to meet specific goals. Key questions that you should ask include: What are the goals of the communication plan? For example, do you need the public's buy-in for your action plan? Typically you do. Buy-in from the business community? Is your goal to inform stakeholders throughout implementation of the action plan? Who is the target audience for the various components of your communication plan? What communication tools will you use? Will you use traditional media? Social media? Will you hold public events? For example, communication tools used for the AIR plan program in India included LED lightboard displays, billboards, a web portal, cell phone messages, smartphone applications, traditional media engagement, flyers, and other information, education, and communication materials. How and by whom will messages be developed? Messages should be translated into the local language and be clear and targeted and include information on air quality and health, action to be implemented, public involvement, etc. Personalized messages by including details about current impacts on daily life and society and the benefits of cleaner air on human health, the environment, and the economy. What are the challenges and stumbling blocks that will increase the difficulty in developing and executing an effective communication plan, such as budget constraints, lack of public awareness or interest, lack of coordination or cooperation between government departments, misinformation? How will you overcome these obstacles? How will the effectiveness of the communication plan be evaluated? Consider creating a plan for mid-course assessments and corrections. Remember that communication happens in phases. Start by getting buy-in from the public and stakeholders, getting their input on measures to take to improve air quality, and finally, measuring and communicating the results of implementing the action. Now, let's give some examples of communication techniques. An Air Quality Index, or AQI, is a popular way to share information on air quality with the public. Colors are used to communicate that there is poor or good air quality in an area. Displaying the AQI over time for an airshed targeted by your action plan can help raise awareness that on the ground, local actions are needed to reduce air pollution. As the action plan is developed, more specific data beyond the AQI will be needed to measure actual emissions reductions and demonstrate attainment of your action plan's objectives. Taiwan has an AQI that it posts on the Taiwan Air Quality Monitoring Network, iEnvironment website, and Environment Info Push app. Several other sea air countries have AQIs as well. At the same time, it is important to note that the scale of the AQI may vary by country. Therefore, AQIs may require adjustment to be comparable. You can learn about the AQI in the United States by visiting the EPA Air Now website. That link is in the presentation notes. Communication tools can also be used to show current conditions and to show success. In Taiwan, cell phone apps display past, current, and forecasted air quality, all of which engages the public and allows them to see evidence of improvement over time in particulate matter levels as a result of actions taken by the government. In addition, users can engage by uploading their own photos or by using settings that alert them when air quality is poor. One of the more creative ways to engage the public and raise awareness of air pollution is to use art. For example, an art exhibition was developed in Thailand to communicate air quality with visual media. Visual media can convey the importance of an issue and assist the public in understanding, all while avoiding scientific language. In this case, the organizers combined the exhibit with forums and expert-led talks on air pollution, the AQI, and possible methods for improving air quality. The communications plan for the action plan to reduce wintertime particle pollution in the fictional Mountain Valley in the U.S. is focused on raising awareness, engaging the public, spurring action, and showing success. The plan focuses on informing the community when a burn ban is in effect using road signage, email or text alerts, radio or TV updates, and social media. Through these means, the community is aware of when they cannot burn wood to heat their homes or engage in outdoor burning. The Mountain Valley Clean Air Agency will also develop a website and hold public meetings to listen to stakeholders' concerns and build support for the need to reduce particle pollution. Periodically during plan implementation, the Clean Air Agency will publish measures of success, or metrics, including the number of wood stoves replaced and number of unhealthy air quality days, which they expect will decrease as a result of the action plan. If you are having trouble developing a communication plan, here are some tips to help you. First, keep in mind that effective communication must be a part of your entire action planning process, from getting the public's buy-in and support for your proposed action to announcing and sharing the success of your action plan. Ensure that your communication plan is tailored to your action plan goals and audience, including activities, methods of communication, and timing. Measure success along the way and don't be afraid to change course partway through. Talk to stakeholders and the public as you proceed to gauge the effectiveness not only of your action plan, but of the effectiveness of your communication plan. Are your messages reaching the people that they are intended to reach? It's also important to be creative. Consider how you can use new content, platforms, and venue. Whether through the use of an AQI or an art installation, there are both traditional and innovative ways to communicate. Consult with the SSEA-AIR team if you need help. We've reached the end of Module 3. In this module, you heard a review of the SSEA-AIR program purpose and why it's important to develop an action plan. You also heard more about 3 of the components of an action plan, including schedule for implementation, public and stakeholder involvement, and communication planning and management. Here is a preview of Module 4. We will go into more detail on the remaining sections of the action plan template, including managing cost, risk, and data quality. We will also revisit how to use quantitative performance metrics to assess the success of your action plan. Our team's technical experts are available to answer your questions and to support you during the development of your action plan. Here is our contact information. You have now completed Module 3. Thank you for your attention, and we look forward to continuing to help you develop and implement your air quality action plan.